Hello and welcome to Let's Talk About It with Brother Love and Greg Jackson. But if you're looking at us on Facebook, you see that Brother Love is not with Greg Jackson, but we have a special guest who is in the studio with us this evening. It is none other than a good friend of the show. He's your friend. He's my friend. He's none other than the next state representative for Florida. What's that? That's District
41.
District 41, none other than Mr. Bruce Antone. Rep. Antone, how you doing this evening?
Right, I'm doing well, Greg. Thank you so much for having me.
Listen, man, when Brother Love said that he wasn't going to be here, we sat down. We said, hey, who can sit at the table with part of the dynamic duo and bring the heat? And we both said in concert, Bruce Antone.
Man, such flattery.
Oh, man. So listen, how's everything been going with you?
Man, it's going well. It's been busy. I've got election next Tuesday. So I've got a Green Party candidate, but I do expect to win. Just like I told everybody I was going to win the primary. I won. It was only by 83 votes.
Listen, the W is a W. Where I'm from.
Yeah. Funny thing about it, man, 83 folk that had never supported me before called me, text me, messaged me on Facebook and said, we supporting you this time.
Listen, man.
And that 83 votes was enough to win. Them 83 people that didn't like me, that was enough to win. I will take it any and every day.
Listen, man, like I said, W is a W where I'm from.
It is.
Hey, but listen, before we get whole hog into this thing, you are listening to two of the most influential voices in Central Florida on Monday Night Radio, Brother Love and Greg Jackson. But tonight we have a special guest host. Again, it is Representative Bruce Antone, who is sitting in the seat. And when he sits in the seat, he's going to help us to bring 10 to 15 IQ points to everyone out there in Let's Talk Nation land. And if you want to be a part of the night show, all you got to do is hit 407-894-1680 again to be a part of this conversation, to speak to Representative Antone, Greg Jackson, one half of the dynamic duo, 407-894-1680. Bruce Antone, let's get it on, man.
All right, man. I'm ready.
So listen, you say you have an election, but I'm looking at you out the side of my eye like, really? You really have
No, in this election season, man, you have to take everybody serious.
You're right.
And so again, the progressives are opposed to me, so they've endorsed my opponent. So man, I just got to take this thing serious, man. So,
now, listen, you're doing the right thing. You know, I say this stuff tongue in cheek, but you always take every single election serious. Every time I see you, you're all about the people's business, getting out there doing work and representing the people. And I'm gonna tell you something too. Brother Love and I, we were talking 2 weeks ago, I want to say, and we open up this platform to every single candidate. You know us. We open up this platform to every single candidate. And it just seemed that the only people taking us up on the offer to come in were Republicans.
Wow.
And I'm like, Brother Love, I'm a Democrat. I don't know if people believe me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know because I don't have a problem with, saying what I see every time and stuff every now and again. But we were like, listen, we got to get a Democrat in here so that they really believe that we love everybody. So we appreciate you, man. You helping us out a whole bunch.
Well, this is like the fourth or fifth time you've had
That's
me.
what I'm saying.
And so again, I'm honored. I mean, when Rod reached out to me, man, I was like, man, let me go on ahead and jump on this. Again, I'm just honored to be here, man. Just honored.
So listen, I'm going to hit you with some things that are taking place, man. And we're just going to have a free fall conversation. But the first thing that I want to get into, and again, Let's Talk Nation, I'm talking to Representative soon to be elected for a second time. This is your second time going to the House.
Right. No, third.
Third time.
Yes.
Oh, I missed the first time.
2002 to 2006.
See, I wasn't here then. That's what it was. So, but yeah, third time going to the House. We've always been a huge supporter of yours. I'm happy to see that you're going to be returning to the House because we need strong community voices such as yours. But tonight, we're gonna talk to a different Bruce Antone. Okay. And tonight is Halloween, bro.
It is.
So let's talk about the scariest movie you've ever seen. What you got? The scariest movie you've ever seen?
Oh man, this movie called, if I remember the title, Behind the Green Door. It was about exorcisms and the devil. And I remember sitting in this chair at my parents' house. It's, I don't know, 14, 15 years old.
Your chair started shaking.
Yeah. And they started talking about open the door and They opened this green door or something, and the devil came through. I have been terrified
Are
of
you
that
serious?
movie ever since. And The Exorcist.
Oh,
Man. And then what's that other little boy? It was another exorcist, Damien or
you
somebody.
talking about The Omen?
Yeah, The
People
Omen.
forget about The Omen,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah. The Omen was serious. It's about the spawn of the devil. And so people were stupid enough to adopt this kid.
Right.
And
But
he
I mean,
terrorized them.
Hey, 50 years later, I'm still terrified. And I will not look at those movies if I just happen to see an ad or something with the advertisement for those movies. Man, I turn it, throw it in trash can, set it on fire.
I hear you.
No,
Listen, we're talking the scariest movie you've ever seen. So if you want to join into the part of this conversation, 407-894-1680. And so, Rep, I'm going to tell you, the date, I don't remember the exact date, but the year was 1978.
Okay.
Muhammad Ali
Uh-huh.
was fighting Leon Spinks.
Wow.
It was his third try or his opportunity to win the heavyweight championship of the world for the third time. I put $1 on that fight, Rep.
Wow.
And on that night, Muhammad Ali had previously been beat by Leon Spinks. But on that night, Muhammad Ali prevailed and beat Leon Spinks. And I won my first $1.
Wow.
And then later on that night on HBO, the feature movie after the Muhammad Ali fight.
Wow.
The Exorcist.
Wow.
So the night I won the $1 is the night that I became the scariest individual you ever want to see.
Man.
The Exorcist has to be. I don't care. Listen.
It is, man.
And it's based on a true story that happened in England, if I recall correctly.
Right, yeah.
Which makes it even scarier.
I mean, with that little girl, and she gets sick and regurgitates on the priest, and she says some ugly stuff, man. Again, I think the little girl's head spun around a couple of times, man. I'm like, I'm done.
Now, listen, I'm going to tell you the lead up to it. And I'm going to tell you, when I turned 16, I decided I was old enough to watch The Exorcist. I invited the young lady I was dating at the time.
Right.
And she was coming over to the house, and my mom okayed it.
Right.
And so we were going to sit on the sofa, and I was going to be brave enough to put my arms around this girl, and it's funny now. And we were going to watch The Exorcist, right? She got there a little bit late. And there's this one part in The Exorcist before everything starts going crazy. And the girl, it's a scene where the mom has a bunch of people over for a party. And the girl walks down the stairs, and she urinates on the floor in front of everybody.
Yeah, I remember that.
I turned the channel, and the young lady came, and I said, the movie ain't come on tonight. I could not get past that part in the movie because I knew after that, all purgatory, no pun intended, was about to break loose. So, yeah, man. So yeah, if anybody, Brother Armando, scariest movie you ever seen?
My favorite, the scariest movie for me was Insidious. It was one of the Insidious.
I've heard about that.
All of them.
I've heard about that. Yeah. Now, speaking of Brother Armando,
actually, actually kind of apply to real life. So
listen, it does. So speaking of Brother Armando, Representative Antone, we have a special guest in the studio with Brother Armando. Brother Armando, where's your special guest tonight? So for all of you all in Let's Talk Nation, and listen, don't be nervous. It's only 20 million of them out there now. It's only 20 million. We short 3 million. So in case you didn't know, this is Mrs. Carolyn Smith Brown. This is Brother Armando's mom. She has joined him in the studio tonight, and she wants to say hello to Let's Talk Nation.
Hello, Let's Talk Nation.
We appreciate you. Listen, anytime you want to come into the studio and watch what Armando's doing, he's doing some great stuff with us. I mean, honestly and truly, he's been with us for since we started the show, and he has grown by leaps and bounds, and he keeps us straight, even gives us investment advice every now and again. So you did an outstanding job with him, and we appreciate you. So, yeah, no worries, man. No worries. So, Rep, more in the news, man. Elon Musk.
Man, crazy dude, extremely wealthy, but crazy, and he's promoting craziness, you know. Now that he's bought, what is it, Twitter?
Listen, so last week, the deal went through because remember, it was this big hubbubaloo, where he was buying Twitter, and then he backed off, said he wasn't going to buy it.
Right.
Last week, he buys Twitter, and he walks into Twitter with a sink, and he fires the 5 top executives in Twitter.
Whoa.
And so Twitter apparently is about to make some drastic changes.
Whoa.
But Twitter
Uh-huh.
purchased by Elon Musk. Good thing, good thing, bad thing.
Oh man, I don't know. It's too early to tell. I mean, one of the things I heard today is that he restored Donald Trump's Twitter account. You know, man. So ain't no telling what's getting ready to happen.
See, I didn't even hear that part.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that. I heard that he had done away with the lifetime bans.
Right.
Which that helped a couple of people. I think Stacey Dash may have had a lifetime ban.
She needed to have one.
Yeah, she needed a lifetime ban. And so she's gonna be back on Twitter, but the Don is gonna be back.
Which
that's
is crazy,
gonna be interesting.
man.
That's gonna be interesting. Brother Armando, what you got?
Yeah, they say he hasn't restored Donald Trump's
Okay.
yet, but he said he made a post yesterday. He made a tweet yesterday. He said if I had $1 for every time somebody asked me if I'm gonna restore Donald Trump's account, he said I'll be very, very well off than I already am.
Listen, man.
Oh wow.
Listen.
I apologize for that error there.
But no, listen, man.
Yeah.
But you know what's coming.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you know what's coming. Elon Musk, over the past year or so, has made some interesting moves politically.
Right.
Some of the folks that he supported. I mean, I think he's even come out and support of some folks here in the state of Florida, but he has made some very interesting moves. That this move with him purchasing Twitter is something that we're gonna have to watch, man.
Yep.
Something we have to watch.
I'm still amazed he's able to sell so many electric cars, man. That is the right guy, right?
That's the right guy. Yeah,
I'm just amazed, man. I mean, every time I go into the San Francisco Bay Area, man, that area is just deluged with electric cars, Teslas, and I'm like, wow, I like to drive along the interstate for long distance. So I can't see myself stopping every couple of hours. To recharge. Every time I go to Walmart, the parking lot's full of people recharge. No, that ain't gonna work for me.
But listen, you know what else I like though, with the gas cars.
Mm-hmm.
Have you crunk up a Hellcat just yet?
I have not.
And heard that engine?
No, I have not.
An electric engine just don't purr like 770 horsepower. It just don't sound the same.
Right.
And so, listen, I appreciate that there's some folks that want to ride around. But listen now, if you're a speed head, if you like speed, electric cars are the way to go.
Yeah, they tell me the acceleration is phenomenal.
It is crazy. Mm-hmm. So you have the Tesla Plaid that's apparently hitting 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds.
That's crazy.
That is absolutely now when I was coming up.
Right.
When I was coming up, the fastest car I think at the time was a Bugatti. And I think Bugattis were hitting 0 to 60 in like 2.9.
Okay.
And this is the $2 million Bugatti. Now you have, and I don't know how much a Plaid costs, but it ain't $2 million.
Right.
That if you're just going strictly off of speed, that's your ride. And they are now battling, for your car heads,
right.
The Porsche 911 and those cars,
right.
But Audi has a car on the market right now that's an EV.
Okay.
The only thing to battle the EV right now are EVs.
Wow.
And they have this GT e-tron that apparently can catch that Tesla.
Wow.
So
That's
these
amazing.
EVs, man, like I said, from a speed standpoint, but I just like the purr of 770 horsepower.
Yeah. I just like to know that the only thing that my car is gonna run once I fill it up with some gas. And I ain't got to worry about the battery dying out early. Yeah. I mean, I used to go out to off lease.
Oh yeah.
And they had these $9,000 cars that was supposed to go get 600 or 700 miles per charge.
Yeah.
But the folk would buy the car and find out they only got 300 miles, and they break down someone else say so. Like I say, those are nice looking automobiles. I am sure they're really nice cars, but I'm gonna stick with the gasoline for a while until I'm forced to go.
Absolutely forced to get it.
Yeah.
Oh man. But listen though, we could talk cars all night.
Mm-hmm.
We could talk cars all night, but the folks in Let's Talk Nation will be mad at us because not everybody likes cars like we like cars.
Right.
But interesting though. Tuskegee University.
Right.
Engineer.
Yep. Electrical engineer, physics, double major.
Why politics, if I may ask?
I got in engineering because that was my interest at the time. I had a dream at Tuskegee that I was going to be a politician. This
Really?
is
So
when I
even
was a
back
student.
then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dick Gregory, Coretta Scott King, Kwame Ture, Jesse Jackson, all them folks used to come in. And one night I had this dream that I was going to end up being in politics. And so the opportunity presented itself in 1992 when I worked for a state senator. And I mean, it's not the most glorious career. It's an overrated career, but somebody's got to do it.
Listen, but your passion for serving the community, because you've done it in a couple of different capacities. You've done it as a state rep, but you've also done it on the local level as well. Talk to Let's Talk Nation about how that experience has continued to prepare you and drive you to serve back in Tallahassee.
Well, and I'll tell you the whole thing about it, man, is just, again, living in Black communities and seeing how Black communities get left behind. That's really my motivation.
Wow.
And then when I worked for State Senator Buddy Dyer, I learned from the best how they do stuff.
Right.
You know, how they pass laws, how they do things for their community. And I said, man, we can take that. I can take that and bring it back to the Black community. It don't quite work that way.
Right.
But that is my motivation. I'm just trying to do what I can to see if I can help the Black community get its share. You know,
outstanding.
And our share is not always equal to what it should be, but I'm just trying to do my part. And that's my motivation.
Listen,
I mean, as simple as that is.
Listen, you're doing a great job. Well, right now, Rep, we have a special part of the show. I don't know if you get a chance to listen when we have someone who is the Secretary of State of Let's Talk Nation.
Okay.
It is the talented, it is the incomparable, it is the one and only Miss Nicole Knowles.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you tonight?
Hey, Mr. Cole, how you doing? Can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
All right.
Hear me? You good?
Hey, Mr. Cole.
Hey. How are you all tonight? Can you hear me?
So what we'll do is we'll work through that, through that technical issue. But just kind of going back, so just working, helping the community, figuring out how to help the community get its fair share. Now I don't know, and I'm not gonna take you fully down this road. I ain't gonna do that to you.
Okay.
But I don't know if you remember the first time we met. It was back in 2012. It was up at the
2 days.
No, not 2 days. That was the second time we met. That's when I was foolish enough to think.
All right.
we'll leave that where it is.
Okay.
So that's after we got cool after that. But the first time we met, it was during the Classic weekend, and it's when Daisy Lineup used to always have this event up in the what was it? What was the Touchdown Club or something like that?
It's the Skybox or something.
Yeah.
At the Campbell World Stadium.
Yeah, Campbell. That's right. And it was it's like the Black Caucus and everybody was there. And you and I met for the first time. And you told me, and I don't want you to go down this road. I just want you to remember to yourself. Right now. You told me about your plan to help African Americans to raise money to make a trek.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't want to talk about that. Wow.
But it was genius. I thought, man, I was like, this guy's a genius. Why didn't we think of this? Because if it was done, it would have been the perfect way to finance that trip.
Right. Yeah.
But listen, the point of it is that when we met, you were thinking so outside of the box to where it's like, why is no one thinking like this?
Right.
And so I've always admired you, for the fact that you are unapologetically seeking ways to help the community, the Black community in particular. So,
yeah, well, that has cost me financially, but such is life. You know, there's no prosperity and civil rights and none of that craziness, man. But again, somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.
You know, you live and learn, and I learn something each time I do it, and so. This time back, man, I'm just going to work smarter, build even better relationships across the aisle, because those relationships across the aisle have benefited me. They benefited the community. I mean, a lot of folks, they hate Governor DeSantis.
Right.
But man, Governor DeSantis funded a lot of my stuff. That new building at FAMU with the snake in front of it.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah, that was
part of your election?
$24.8 million. Me and Senator Perry Thurston got that money
Nice.
with the help of the Speaker and the Senate President. But Governor DeSantis didn't veto it. And so we come back the next year, and Judge Belvin Perry called me and said, hey, man, we need some money to save Bethune-Cookman, right?
Mm.
Cool. So it just so happens that myself, Perry Thurston, met with Governor DeSantis and the lieutenant governor in the green room at the Diplomat or somewhere down in Fort Lauderdale in like December of 2019. And his chief of staff was there. And Velda, she was the national president of the Black Conference of State Legislators. But we were in there waiting to go out for this conference to speak. And man, I was like, hey man, we need some money for these black schools, right?
Right.
And basically what he said, hey man, whatever you work out with the legislature, I'm gonna be okay with it.
Really?
Yeah. And this was December. And so we go back to session and we ended up with $34 million in the budget, right? So here we are 3 years later, it's recurring money. That's $100 million that we got for Bethune-Cookman, Edward Wars, and Florida Memorial, right? That's $6,500 per student, which is what it costs to go to school at Florida State, at FAMU, at the University of Florida. But man, that was a huge economic boom for those schools, right?
Wow.
And what we sold this was on the economic impact of those universities. So those 3 universities had like a $500 million economic impact on their communities.
Right.
Gas stations, hair salons, CVS, the grocery stores, whatever. But that's how we built the case to get this money. And so, like I say, Governor DeSantis has his politics.
Right.
You know, he's trying to run for president. He's got to do what he's got to do, right? But like I say, he wasn't necessarily a problem for me.
Yeah.
You know, I ignore all that
Other
crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I just stay focused. And I tell you this other little dumb story. So we sitting in the office, me and the Black Caucus officers, and we meet with DeSantis. He'd give me 45 minutes, and I go in there with this agenda, right? It's like 20 items.
Right.
And so he kept trying to deflect the Black Caucus member. Hey, man, y'all want tickets to the Super Bowl? You know, I know the owner, man. I'm like, look, we on number 3, man. Can you come back? We need to finish this thing. We ain't got but 45 minutes. He's like, dude, I'm trying to deflect here. No, we need to focus on the stuff that we're doing for Black folks.
Right.
And he basically gave me everything I asked for.
Really?
Yeah. Which is,
wow.
You know, but again, that was
your experience
working relationship with him. Now that don't apply to everybody else.
But it depends on how you approach people.
Yeah.
People have to understand it's all about the approach. And if you approach the situation the right way, and it's not to say that you are that you're selling out, what you're doing is you're bringing home the bacon, and you're helping constituents, and you're bringing resources and finances that would not have been available to them anyway. So listen, kudos, and we're going to circle back on that because I want to talk a little bit more about the importance of working across the aisles. But we're going to move once again to see if we have the talented, the incomparable, the intelligent, the one and only Miss Nicole Knowles that is going to come to us and give us her update. Miss Nicole, how you doing this evening?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me okay?
Oh, no.
Can you hear me?
Well, Miss Nicole is she is signed in and ready for duty, but apparently her system or our system isn't working with her. But we know that she has some great information that she wanted to pass on to us. But listen, so let's go back to going across the aisles. And so one of the things, particularly in the African American community, that we lack is the art of negotiation. Talk to us about the importance of being able to go into a room, walk into a room in the way that what you're talking about and getting things done.
Okay. Well, I mean, the legislature is everything. Right now, it is maybe 77 Republicans, 43 Democrats, right? They control the budget. They control the governorship. And if you don't have relationships with them, you can't get anything done. And for me, my simple art is I've known a lot of these guys over the years, starting from 1992 when I worked for State Senator Buddy Dyer. And one of my key relationships out of this was a guy named Jack Latvallow, who's the budget chair in the Senate. And Senator Geraldine was the senator. I was the rep. She would put stuff out there trying to get some money. They wouldn't fund it. And I go to Jack and I'm like, hey, man, I need this. He's like, man, why did she just say it was yours, Bruce? You got it. And in fact, when I ran for re-election this time, he sent me my first $2,000, right?
Really?
He leaves me a voicemail message and he say, this is your second favorite senator calling you. I want to send you some money, help you win. Now, if you remember who this is, then you call me and I'm gonna help you. And sure enough, I called him and he
You
helped
knew
me.
just who it was, huh?
Yeah. But for me, it was the art of sitting in the lunchroom every day for breakfast or lunch with my colleague. I'd go sit with the Republicans, right? And I just sit there and talk family stuff. Hey, man, how many kids you got, all this stuff. And so we had those relationships. And now this is something really simple.
Right.
I worked for IBM. This is all I ever wore was a blue suit, white shirt, right? And those guys were like, man, you come in here dressed corporate, poised, you're not down with the BS and stuff, right? And you're always professional and you're always prepared. We like that, Bruce. And we can work with you. Now, some of my colleagues would come in there with an earned shirt on, yellow shirt, you know, looking like Poindexter, looking like Pee Wee Herman, pants 8 inches too short. Man, don't nobody take them
They don't
guys
take you
serious, right?
You can't take nobody serious like that.
But you know, you work in corporate settings, in the legal community, and you know, it's a blue suit.
That's right.
It's a gray suit,
white shirt, baby blue, light blue shirt. Yeah.
And that's your calling card.
That is.
I mean, that's how you present yourself. And so again, I just worked on the relationship part. And so when I went to him, I was just always prepared. Hey, man, I need this. Well, why do you need this? Call. Boom, boom, boom. You know, and it worked. And so I throw a whole lot of stuff up on the wall and we see what stick.
Yeah.
And sure enough, and then, you know, hey, man, I know this is important to your community as well. You know, this is going to help the Black community, but it's going to help you too.
Right.
And I give you an example. So this year I'm going back with a proposal. There's a shortage of Black doctors and Hispanic doctors in the state of Florida.
Yeah.
Even though we make up collectively maybe 40% of the population, we're only about 15% of the doctors, physicians in the state of Florida. So I'm going back with something called the Florida Medical School Fellowship Program. They help fund 50 Black medical school students that attend Florida's public medical schools and 50 Hispanic. And so I'm going to go find me a Hispanic bill sponsor in the Senate.
Yeah.
And it's $10 million. It costs $250,000 in tuition to go to medical school, right?
That it does.
And then you got living expenses, which could run another $30,000 a year. So for the 5 or 6 years you're in medical school, you're talking about another $200,000, right? So what I want to do is provide at least 75% of the tuition.
Nice.
And then a living stipend of maybe $1,500 a month for as long as that person is in medical school and making the grade. And so I want to make sure that the finances is not the obstacle to keep Black students and Hispanic students from going to medical school, but only for students attending a medical school in the state of Florida.
That is awesome. Listen, if you're hearing these two voices, you're listening to Greg Jackson. Brother Love is on special assignment, but we have our special guest host, Representative Bruce Antone, who is joining us. We're having a fantastic conversation. So, Rep, this program for Florida schools, does it include private schools also?
There's one or two private medical schools in the state of Florida. I want to say University of Miami and Nova. And yeah, it's all about just trying to graduate more Black and Hispanic doctors in the state of Florida. And it would also include physician's assistants.
That is awesome.
So the physician assistant only costs like $100,000 in tuition, right?
Yeah.
But like my daughter, she's like, I don't want to go to medical school because that's 6 years of my life. All my friends are graduating. So Dad, I'm just do the PA program, right? So that's what we're going to do, man. And but again, it's working across the aisle, right?
Yeah.
And so I happen to be talking to the executive director of the Florida Medical Association. And last year they put $6 million in the budget for loan forgiveness for doctors, because they said, man, we got to do something, you know, to help these people out, because we got to encourage minority doctors to come to the state. So I said, hey, man, I got just a thing for you, man, this Florida Medical School Scholarship Program, right? And so that's going to be my push. It might take me 2 or 3 years to get it passed.
Right.
We're going to get it done.
Listen, that is awesome. That is awesome. So from a layman standpoint, what can your constituents do to kind of help that push?
They can call the governor's office. They can call my office. They can write a letter. But, once I get it going, they just call the governor's office and say, hey, man, we need some more Black doctors. We need some more Hispanic doctors in the state of Florida, man. I think Representative Antone's got a solution. He's got some legislation. See what you can do, Governor, to help them out.
So listen, Let's Talk Nation. You have heard the battle cry from our good friend Bruce Antone. He has some great ideas, a piece of legislation that is going to help increase and improve the number of Black and Hispanic doctors here in the state of Florida. Once we get him in that seat, it's a simple ask, a simple request. Just reach out to the governor's office and say, hey, listen, we need more African Americans, more Black, more Hispanic doctors, physicians assistants in our state, and we fully support Representative Antone's legislation. And so let's get together. And even if we're not in your district, we can actually reach out to our own representatives. Would that help too? Yeah,
it certainly would. And let me throw out two other things too. Yeah. One is I want to do a gun, what I call a commission on the reduction of crime and gun violence in urban and inner city communities. I want to model it after Parkland High School Safety Committee and say, man, it's time to throw some resources behind all this crime and this gun violence in Black communities, right? Yeah. Because this really is an economic development issue. You go over here to this West Oak Mall. There's 60 or 70 empty stores over there because the perception of crime during the recession was enough of those stores to close, and folks like, man, it's dangerous over there, right?
Yeah.
Your automobile insurance in certain zip codes around here costs $500 a year more than it does in white communities because they measure gun violence by a 2,000 car radius.
Interesting.
And the number of auto burglaries that have occurred in these 2,000 car radius. So it's not by the zip code.
Right.
It's by this 2,000 car radius. And so if you go talk to some of the Black insurance agents, they'll tell you it's $500 more if you live in Pine Hills, Richmond Heights, Washington Shores, and stuff like that.
And these are areas that are economically more depressed than the areas. And so this is a huge, $500 may not sound like a lot to some people, but $500 is a lot of money.
Well, it's a tax on living in Black communities, right? So if you're here in Orlando and you live in the city of Orlando, they've increased your property taxes 18% to pay for the shortfall on the three venues, the Citrus Bowl, Performing Arts Center, and whatever that thing, the Amway Arena, right?
Yeah.
And so then there's a school board tax for technology. And then the cost of goods and services in the Black community cost more than they cost everywhere else. And then you go look at the shopping centers, they're empty, Buddy by Right, Family Dollar, Dollar General, right? And then nobody wants to locate their store, their business in the Black community because their property insurance and everything is higher. So there is a hidden tax.
Wow.
On just being in the Black community. And so the next thing I want to do is last year there was this big deal on critical race theory, right? And so this was a 500-line bill. And somewhere on line 408, it says it's important that we teach accurate Black history in the state of Florida and how Black folks were discriminated against and how laws were passed to discriminate against Blacks. And so Randy Fine, who's this guy, he stands up, he says, hey man, I brought this Holocaust boxcar up here to Tallahassee. Y'all remember that? And so it was the same as the Holocaust, the boxcar they used to transport the Jews in World War II. And you know what, Black legislators, next year I'll help y'all get something. So this year I got a proposal for $30 million to build the Florida Museum of Black History. So it'll be something a little bit smaller.
Hold on. We don't have a Florida Museum of Black History yet?
No. If we do, it's some little jive time museum, but there's nothing that really
you know what? Until you just sat here and said it, I never thought about that. Wow.
Yeah. So there's all these Jewish Holocaust museums. Yeah. There's one down in Tampa, and the legislature funds these Holocaust museums and centers all across the state of Florida. So it's like, hey, man, let's go get our money. Then we got this tourist development tax here that generates $300 million a year. Hey, man, Black folk getting less than $2 or $3 million collectively from this $300 million that the Orange County tourist development tax. So it's time for us to get our share. So let's go build this museum. Let's talk about Chappie James, who's born in Pensacola, the first Black general over NORAD, right?
Yep.
Let's talk about the Muriel boat lift that brought a lot of the Haitians here, right? Let's talk about the fact that the first 5 Tuskegee Airmen, or the first 5 Black pilots, that became Tuskegee Airmen were trained in Tallahassee on property
Really?
which may be part of Florida State's campus. Yes.
I
So
never
Benjamin
knew
O.
that.
Davis. But you know, we got the axe handle stuff in St. Augustine. We got a lot of Black history in Florida. But you know what? Since y'all spending all this money, since y'all said y'all wanted to help us teach accurate Black history,
Write the check.
here we go.
Write the check.
Write the check, right?
Listen, those are all
Mhm.
fantastic ideas, and I can't wait to see how you get into the legislature this upcoming cycle, this upcoming term, and really start putting this to work. But you know, you said something that's real important. You said it's going to take me 2 to 3 years to do it. So what folks need to understand is that, you know, you get in there. The first year you get to do something, that next year you run it all over again. So they need to understand that so that they can continue to support what you're doing.
Well, I ended up sponsoring some legislation for the Florida Human Rights Commission. I think that's the name of it, right? It took me 4 years to get it passed, man. We were just trying to realign the processes for investigation, streamline the processes,
Right.
and bring some consistency to the length of the investigation so that, you know, maybe that was only 90 days to do this, to respond. It took me 4 years
Wow.
to get that passed. I kept trying to get new positions funded, and they just wanted to do OPS, which were folks that work for the Florida Commission on Human Relations, right, which is our equal opportunity thing, right? But they had no benefits, right? And so it wasn't until we got positions funded with benefits that we could actually keep some employees, right? But it takes time, man. It takes time.
Yeah.
So I just keep pecking away.
No, I'll say now.
Yeah.
Listen. Speaking of Florida Human Rights Commission, you know, one of the things, one of the bigger issues, and one of the solid issues that's taking place in the African American community as well, is human trafficking. And we were just talking about this before we went on air. A 16-year-old young lady, I think it was either last week or week before last, was found shot and killed in the front yard. She had walked off and left DCF, and come to find out, you know, she was a victim of human trafficking. And so this is a huge issue. And just I just want to take this moment. I want to have a conversation about that. But Brother Love, Brother Rod Love, he's not here in the physical form.
Okay.
But he's here in spirit. But he is hosting and holding through the Florida Economic Consortium a human trafficking community information and awareness forum on November 11th of this year. It's going to be at New Life Church of God in Christ. That's going to be at 3311 North Powers Drive, Orlando, Florida. If you want more information on that, you can call.
Please say her name. Deshayla Ferguson, a 16-year-old who was shot dead outside an Orlando home. Deshayla was also a ward of the state because she was involved in a human trafficking case in Orange County. She wasn't seen again by authorities until 2 months later when she was found dead. Our hearts go out to Deshayla's family and friends. Please join us on November 3rd at New Life Church at 3311 North Powers Road in Orlando at 6:30 p.m. to learn how you can protect your children and prevent real-life heartbreaking tragedies such as this. Pastors, community leaders, children program service providers, and yes, parents, this is about learning how you can help prevent having to say the name of your loved ones as a result of being a victim of human trafficking. There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about. Please help us show how much Orange County, the city beautiful Orlando, and surrounding communities care about our children. Keynote speaker, Christopher King, President of United for Human Rights, and sponsored by the Florida Economic Consortium.
Foster care system until they turn 18. So some of the young ladies that lived in the residential group home, which is straight up Clark Road, okay, 3,600 square foot house, right? They were human trafficking victims. They were 15 and 16 years old. They were very sophisticated young ladies, but extremely immature. One day in Mobile, the house parents said, hey man, 3 of the girls ran away, right? 2 of them were human trafficking victims from South Florida.
Right.
And so DCF would make the referral, and then they would never have the file. And then you find out 2 weeks later, oh my God, these are human trafficking victims. They recruited within the group home.
The young ladies did?
Yes, they went to school and recruited.
Really?
We had one young lady, her handler pimp, whatever, was looking for, and she had turned some evidence on him. So he's like, if I ever find him, I'm a killer, right?
Yeah.
You got to get out of here.
Right.
Because if he finds out you're up here and then they want a cell phones, whatever. Then I'll give you another example. And this shows you how crazy it is. Where there's one little 15, 16-year-old girl, and I hope I'm not violating privacy things.
Well, you're not giving any names, anything like that. So yeah.
But this girl had been on runaway status for 2 years, right? She trafficked girls. She would go to the bus station. She knew how to identify other runaways, right? She knew they hung out at the mall. And so the way she survived was to traffic these girls. Hey, you need some money. You need some clothes. I can get your phone. Hey, I got this lady that'll let us stay with us. I got this man. And so she would say, see this man at the mall, right? And he's like, oh, I like that little girl. She's like, cool. You know what? Give me $100. You can sleep with her. And that's where they stayed at night. She would get a girl $20 and keep $80, right? Then she would go to school. And I ain't going to say which high school she went to. And she would recruit the girl to school, right? And so you've got all these young ladies who are from less affluent homes, right? They are making money being trafficked by this 16, 17-year-old girl that's their classmate, man. It is a vicious, brutal thing. It is so deep.
So the victims become the victimizers.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
And the victims, because it becomes so normalized to them, they get other young ladies to become victims.
Mm-hmm.
And these are minors that are doing this.
Mm-hmm. 16, 17-year-old girls trafficking their high school classmates or other runaways. Yes.
So how I mean, and I know, like I said, Brother Love, he's going to be hosting through the Florida Economic Consortium, the Human Trafficking Community Information and Awareness Forum. Again, that is November 3rd, 2022 at New Life Church of God in Christ at 6:30 p.m. But how do we address a situation where victims become victimizers?
You got to make parents aware of what's going on. And so this is not a young girl, older man situation. This is a young girl, 20-something, 30-something, 40-something-year-old female thing. So, I mean, it's so deep, but parents need to become aware of what's happening. They need to pay attention to their kids. And if their kids all of a sudden start coming home with nice clothes, pocket full of money, brand new cell phone, new computer, they need to start asking questions.
Another place they can start looking too is on social media.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I mean, there's a lot of young ladies, and not that I'm looking for them, but stuff pops up on your timeline. And, it's young ladies that have, Chanel purses and Gucci purses. I mean, stuff that my wife and had to work hard to get. Right. That you have young girls that are 19, 20 years old that's walking around with these designer bags. Mm-hmm. That is so interesting.
But the stuff on TV, the stuff on streaming television network with all of these new black movies, man, it, in a sense, glorifies this stuff, right? And so folks like, I can make some money doing this. I mean, I've heard principals talk about middle school girls, selling themselves, man.
In middle school.
Yeah.
Wow.
Again, this problem is really, really deep.
Wow. Brother Armando, what you got?
And that's why, like, me personally, I hate to bring up like Kanye West or anything like that. But everything that he's speaking about right now is trying to protect the black community. You know what I'm saying? And it applies to what we're speaking about right now. It's the industry that we have, the music industry right now, basically is prostituting our women. You know what I mean? And he's speaking up about it. But the thing is, the industry figured out a way to demonize him to the point where it looks like he's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
But now, Brother Armando, it's funny that you bring up Kanye West because he's on the list of things to talk about. And more specifically, the implosion of Kanye West and what's going on with Kanye West right now. Now, to an extent, Rep, I understand. I hear Brother Armando about some of the things that Kanye West is exposing in the industry. But please, if somebody wants to call in, 407-894-1680 and explain to me the White Lives Matter t-shirt that Kanye West and Candace Owens were wearing. If somebody can call and explain that to me, I'm all ears.
There is a YouTube video where he explains it.
I ask you this. Do they matter?
It doesn't matter if they do or don't. I want to understand what the place was of him wearing that shirt at that time and place. I think personally, everybody matters. I'm not going to sit up here and say this. Everybody matters. But in that time and space, what's with the White Lives Matter t-shirts?
I got you.
I get you, because me
Can you
personally,
hear me?
on my birthday, I decided to wear all Lives Matter t-shirt.
And I saw that, and
So
it looked
the
very nice. It looked very nice. And listen, I'm with you on that. I'm one of the All Lives Matter people.
I think
I got you.
it
Can you hear
started
me?
as a joke. His dad, who was a former Black Panther, called him and said, "Man, how profound was that? White lives matter." And what his dad was trying to imply is that white lives matter more than Black lives. But there is an interview with Kanye, and I can't think of who it is, where he explains.
Was it Piers Morgan? I think he did an interview with
It
Piers
could be.
Morgan. Yeah.
And he explains how this all came about. And it's like, man, this is some dumb stuff, but
It's
crazy.
Kanye.
Yeah,
It's Kanye.
Kanye.
Doc Polite, I see you got your jacket on. What you talking
Can
about?
you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, we can't hear you, Doc. We can't hear you. Sorry about that. So it's me and Rep Anton tonight. We don't want nobody interrupting us.
So check this out. Did you know that Kanye had the top gospel albums for a couple of years, right?
I do know that.
Which is crazy. And
Yeah.
it's all because it's Kanye,
It's Kanye.
West. My niece had the top R&B song in the country for a number of years. She wrote for Ciara, Chris Brown, and some other folk. I mean, to hear her talk about some of the stuff going on in the industry, man, it's
interesting.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
But everybody missed it when Luke and Two Live Crew jumped out there back in the 80s, right? And state attorney Tanner sued them, saying their music was obscene and all that stuff. And we went with the First Amendment thing, freedom of speech, and didn't understand the poison, the toxicity that music eventually injected into the community. Now, here's another dumb little thing, right?
Yeah.
So you had NWA, you had, what's the little dude with the gold teeth?
Out of where? Now, is he out of California, out of Florida? Where's he
Out of New York. They had the other group. He used to wear the big old clock around.
Oh,
his
you're
neck.
talking about Flavor Flav.
Flavor Flav,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But NWA,
Public Enemy.
Yeah, NWA and Ice-T, they talked about killing cops and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Has anybody noticed that they're all mega rich now, and they generally play cops in television series and movies?
Interesting.
Have they been co-opted? Hey, y'all stop
Interesting.
making that kind of crazy music, man. We're going to make y'all rich. But all of them are mega rich. I think it's one or two from NWA. He might only be worth $50 million. But, you know, you look at my man,
Dre,
$1 billion.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Bro, go ahead, brother.
Because you got it. You got it 100%. But the thing is, it's just that, like you said, just like Creflo Dollar, they're being pimped by somebody. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So I focus, you got to call. I focus on the main. Instead of just focusing on the t-shirt, we got to focus on really what's going on.
And that's what I'm saying. Tell me what was behind it. Because listen, I'm an open-minded person. Of all things, I'm an open-minded person. And if you can make it make sense to me, I'll ride with you on it. But if you can't make it make sense to me, I'm just like, well, wait a minute. Tell me again why that's happening. But listen, though, Rap, we have someone who's on the line that wants to join us. Call on live with Greg Jackson and Representative Bruce Anton. Let's talk about it. How you doing this evening?
Yeah, this Doc. I had to call in. I know why they did it.
What you got, Doc?
And, okay, so what they were trying to do was really draw attention to the lunacy of the Black Lives Matter movement and how it was a grifting. So they used that as a provocative ploy to bring attention to the fact that Black Lives had raised all that money and basically ripped off the black community. And they wanted to use that as a catalyst for that argument. And that's what they did. Because if you watch the interviews with Candace and him afterwards, that's what they were being provocative, for sure. But they wanted to raise the level of conversation about Black lives as it related to what this movement has not done to ensure Black lives do matter.
So let me ask you this, Doc. Would it have been more effective to have a T-shirt that says Black Lives Matter did not do it? They said they were going to do it with the money?
Man, listen, you talking about Kanye and Candace. Who knows what?
Which I'm still trying to figure out that unholy marriage.
But in their mind, they accomplished that through using the White Lives Matter.
Now, did they do that, or did they make it a more divisive issue? Because are people really looking at what? Because listen, I've been talking about what Black Lives Matter has done with the money for the past 6 or 7 months. Did that one act cause news media to step up, or any individual to step up and say, "Oh, hey, that White Lives Matter shirt has now triggered us to believe that Black Lives Matter is not properly using funds"?
But did it get them attention, and did it get them press?
It got attention.
Okay.
It got some press.
And
Kanye West started making some comments. And last week, Kanye West posted that he lost $2 billion. So yeah, if his goal was to lose money, he succeeded in all measures of the game.
Then you think about this. Now he said that to him, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter about the money
until you lose money. Listen, it's easy for somebody with $2 billion to say money don't matter until they lose $2 billion.
I ain't no millionaire, but I came from the hood. I ain't scared to go back to the hood.
I am.
That's just the reality.
Listen, hey, cut Doc Polite Mike, because he talking crazy tonight. He talking crazy. He talking just like he did last week, talking about gas prices ain't that high. Is something going on in the Doc Polite household when he called this food? Did he just wait a minute? Hold up. Well, you ain't got to answer. But do you work as hard as you have worked? Did you go and get the degrees that you got? Did you fight as hard as you fight to say, let me go back to the hood? I don't care. Doc, I'm gonna let you redeem yourself now, Doc. You better tread carefully now.
Hold on, because that's not what I mean. What I'm saying
that's what you said.
Hey, that's like saying you give me steak and I want to go back eating bologna. Of course not.
But that's what you said.
No, my point is, Greg, that you don't necessarily have to fear going back to something that you're already familiar with. You know how to survive there. You can rebuild. You see what I'm saying? For people who came from privilege, who's always had privilege, let them lose it. They jump out windows, okay? Black folks say, I got fired today. Hell, I'm going to take a couple weeks off, then I'm going to get me another job. Okay? That's our reality. We are built different in that survival mindset. So we'll say, we'll take that lick and we'll bounce back. It's not an end game for us.
But Doc, listen.
Hey,
hold on, Doc. Hold on, Doc.
Resilient.
Hold on, Doc. Hold on, Doc. I got my hand raised. Okay. Doc. I got my hand raised, bro. Listen, this new generation is not built like the generation that's sitting here at this table and that's talking over the phone right now.
Okay.
This new generation cannot bounce back. Remember, Jay-Z said it. Jay-Z said, if I lose, take my money and put me anywhere, and I can do the same thing anywhere you put me. This new generation is not built like that. This new generation, if you say that you don't like the color of their shoes, this is so. I don't want people to think that this new generation is built like our generation, because they're not. They're just not, man.
Yeah, well, it's like I told you Sunday. I don't know how not to hustle.
Yeah.
So me seeing myself go down and come back up is very realistic for me. I don't know that Kanye has that same resolve. I can't say that.
Well, he does. I can tell you he does. He does. Yeah, he does.
But he built himself. If you watch his you got to watch the Netflix special about it. The guy, I'm impressed. I wasn't a huge Kanye fan then, but let me tell you, the brother the way he built himself up, you have to give him his props.
Listen, but
Because he
remember
came
where
from
Kanye is
dirt
from
to-
now. Listen,
Yeah.
Kanye is from Chicago, Illinois, man.
Chicago.
That place is
Southside, that desperate and 100. You gotta get it how you live it.
But here's the other thing too that a lot of people miss, Rep.
Mhm.
A lot of people miss this. Kanye also spent some time on the highest hills in Tallahassee, Florida.
Yep.
And
So
listen,
I
if
get
FAMU didn't
on the
teach me
next
nothing
guy.
else,
Right,
if it didn't teach me nothing else, it taught me how to survive.
right.
So that Chicago hustle, along with that FAMU spirit,
Right.
I think he could make it anywhere.
He can. He still got $400 million.
Yeah.
And so he just needs to retool, make some adjustments, and come back at it again. But he gonna make sure he don't make that $2 billion
Listen,
mistake
yeah, I
again.
don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
He's not going to make that mistake and say that's a part of him knowing how to make it there again, not
Yeah.
making that same mistake. What you got, brother Armando?
Before we go, my boss, closest friend in the industry, that's close to Kanye, he told me the main goal and the main purpose was just to simply get out of those contracts. Every contract that he had, he wanted to get out of it.
Well, he succeeded.
And $400 million, you know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
Adidas, I put it like this: Adidas needed him more than anything. As far as for those Yeezy shoes, they need him. So therefore, anybody will pick that Yeezy thing up. Besides,
Well,
the people that are going with that to bring it up.
I ain't gonna say that because Skechers escorted him out of the building, and if Skechers won't take you, I mean, that's like, listen, that's like going from Red Lobster
Mhm.
and Captain D's restaurant saying we don't want your recipe. You know what I'm saying? We
I
talking about
agree.
Skechers versus Adidas.
Whoever's willing to go against the grain.
It's gonna be a
Yeah.
while though, because listen, I think he's done some things to hurt his reputation that he's gonna have to fight back to get. I think that he's smart enough, Rep.
Yeah.
I think he's smart enough to do it.
Right.
And I guarantee you, he's not going to make that same mistake the
Right.
next time he gets to that level. Guarantee. Rep, it's been an absolute honor and pleasure speaking with you.
Thank
I'll
you.
give you the last words. Oh, we got a special call on the line. Caller, you're on live with Greg Jackson and Representative Bruce Antone, special guest host on Let's Talk About It while Brother Rod Love is off playing hooky. I don't know what he's doing, but you know, whatever he's doing, I'm highly disappointed in him for not being in on the show tonight. Caller, how you doing? Let's talk about it.
It's interesting that.
Oh my goodness, it's Rod Love.
Hey,
Wow.
only thing I have to say is this, because Doc Polite was gonna ride y'all all night. Hey, fellas, excellent show this evening. Hey, Rep, I know Greg has already told you. Hey, man, we look forward to you being back in that seat, working across the aisles to get results, man, for your constituents. And that's what Let's Talk Nation is all about, results. So I'm going to hang up, go away. But, hey, brothers, y'all putting on a heck of a informational, educational awareness show tonight. Thank you. Rep, appreciate you.
Wow. Thank
you. No, I appreciate that. But listen, Rep, we're going to give you the last minute to just kind of take us out. I wanted to say thank you to Miss Nicole for being here and being available. Sorry we couldn't figure out that technical issue because I know she has some great information for us. But we will see her next week. But Rep, talk to us. Take us out.
I'm going to just say this. I'm just honored to be here. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you, Rod Love. Thank you, Armando. Thank you, Dr. Polite. Man, I appreciate it. It was a pleasure meeting your mother. Miss Brown, right? But it's a pleasure meeting you. Folks, please go vote. Go vote. You got time. Go vote. Early vote. Go to the polls, folks. If you don't know the answer, how to respond to the questions on the ballot, vote no. If you got concerned about the Supreme Court in Florida, vote no on retention of the judges. If you got concerned about the appellate court judges, vote no for retention. If you don't like what that 1 penny sales tax thing says, vote no. I don't know if there's anything in there for black folk other than some Lynx buses, right? But I ain't saying that. But anyway, thank y'all so much. Appreciate this.
No, absolutely. Listen, anytime you want to be a part of the show, you know you're absolutely welcome. We hope that when you make it back to Tallahassee, because we know you're going to be there for a long time, that you will call in, let us know some of the updates of what's taking place up on the Hill. But more importantly, if it's anything that we could do to help you get a message out, anything that you're doing that we need to let folks know about out in the community, do not hesitate to call on us because we're here for you and we appreciate all of your hard work.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So listen, Rep, typically this is done to me. So now I'm about to turn the tables. I'm going to do it to you.
Oh,
You ain't got to go home, but you got to get out of here.
I'm
next
outta here.
time, Brother Love and Greg Jackson will be back with Let's Talk About It. We appreciate you, Representative Bruce Antone. Go vote, and also go Rattlers.